Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is Denoris Wilson, and you are now tuned in into the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, where we're here and we're committed to solving the problems. Tonight's guest is more like a homecoming for me because me and this young lady, we attended Elizabeth City State University together, man, and we developed a friendship back then. We lost contact with one another for a long, long, long time, but the the affinity and the love and the honor and just the overall goodness of calling her a friend has always kept me wondering and how she's doing, and when she's doing something, I try to stay abreast of it. So I'm and she has accomplished a lot, man, and she has a lot to say. So, but before we get to her and her story, remember, we're still in the gambit. The gambit is still operational, and we are still trying to raise the fund for the Black Community Solving Fund. So periodically throughout the show, you'll see a ticker that shows you how you can donate to the fund. If not for nothing, if you don't donate, tell somebody about the fund. But let's run this intro, the secondary intro, and when we come back, we'll meet Miss Wylia Slade.
Hi, this is Tracy Wilson, and you are watching the BRI with my husband, Denoris Wilson.
Hey guys, it's your girl Stephanie, aka Muscle Mom. You're watching BRI Black Research Institute with your boy Denoris Wilson. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Darren Adams, aka Donnie Chulo. You are watching the Black Research Institute with Denoris Wilson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, we back. And tonight's guest is not only a friend of mine, but a very accomplished young lady who has a big heart, an even bigger desire to just be successful. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Miss Wylia Slade, to the BRI.
Hey, Dolores. How you doing, D? How you doing, Mr. Wilson?
I'm doing good. It's always good to see you, man.
Always. Viking pride.
That's right. I was telling Maurice today. We was talking today, and I was like, no matter what nobody say, those Vikings that ushered in like from '84 to '92 were the ones that really put EC on the map.
Yeah.
Like, those Vikings, because remember, Wale, when we was on that campus, it was like 2,500 people. That was it.
It was. But HBCU, Elizabeth City. I wouldn't change it for the world. That's the reason why for the past 25 years, I've been sending kids to Elizabeth City, as well as my own kid, my football players, my students, everybody. They're going to HBCU. Let's start with ECSU. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay, so before we get too much into the interview, there's a couple of questions I'm going to ask you before we start, right?
Okay.
So the first question is, are you being safe?
Am I what?
Are you being safe?
Safe in terms of the pandemic and COVID-19?
However you want to interpret it.
Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe. In terms of COVID-19 and the pandemic, I'm safe because I have OCD before we had a pandemic, so I kept 6 feet anyway. So we're good with that.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy and I'm blessed. We all have issues, but you have to put them in, you got to put them in levels.
Hey, you know why? You know what I realized about like just life is like we all know that nobody is perfect, right? So essentially, like, that means life isn't perfect.
Right.
That means things are gonna happen because
Right.
people are not perfect and people make things happen, right?
Right.
Like essentially, we know that no one's perfect, but yet we try to judge one another on a perfection scale.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
I mean, so what like was like for me once I started to understand, I did that and I still do that, right? I still do that, and I attempt to catch myself in doing it, but I do it a lot because it's a habit, right? Like it's just like it's something as simple as let's say somebody coming to you and they're about to tell you something,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell you, and you already knew what they was telling you,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're telling you, why do we have the urge to say, I already knew that?
Yes. Because everyone has to be right. Everyone knows everything. Everyone's smarter than you. Everyone knows everything. So no one listens anymore, and everyone overtalks everyone. And so that's what happens. That's what happens. But I'm a lifelong learner. So if you want to give me some knowledge, I'm going to take it. You know, exactly. But if you're an idiot, I'm gonna tell you that too. So there's some people that fall in that category who think they know everything and just don't, but they keep doing it because people are afraid to tell them. Do you hear what you're saying? But go back on that a little bit. You know. But yeah, we do have that now. But it's the whole Wi-Fi technology situation, and it got really bigger once the pandemic hit because cell phones and social media and everything. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore.
We communicate. We don't
Right.
talk, communicate.
No, everyone overtalks you. Everyone knows everything. And I've been doing a study lately for the past maybe I don't know 20 years. If you work in corporate America and you work in, let's say you're a teacher or another position, we tend to take our jobs home with us whether we realize it or not. Okay, and corporate Americans, because they know everything and everything is like duh, 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 and they're the boss, they tend to bring that to their personal life as well, which is why that's where the boss comes around with some people who do in corporate America. If you're an educator and you're a teacher, you believe it or not, once we're finished teaching, we're done. We're tired. We're not going to teach you anymore. Okay. Other people, they always still keep doing that. I guess it makes people feel good to let everyone know that they're smarter than the next person, but I don't know why they do that. It makes them a feeling of we all have issues, Mr. Wilson. You know what I mean? But once you recognize your issues and you put them in categories, you could go on with your life, but you can't take one issue and let it overpass another issue without you addressing it. We're not perfect because we're human beings. And we have DNA the same of 99%, but that 1% difference, okay, we have to take it, embrace it, and live with it. Okay, but if you don't address your internal issues, then it all plays on how you act with people and how you treat people in your interactions.
Well, you know what? We didn't have this interview to talk about the ills of society. We having this interview to talk about Miss Slade. That's what this interview is. And before we get deep into the interview, I need for you to tell people a little bit about yourself. A little bit. Because don't a little bit.
You know, I don't like talking about myself, okay? What you want me to know exactly? When I was born? What I've been doing? Well, my mom is from North Carolina. She went to Elizabeth City. And my father is from New York. So he got himself a fly little North Carolina country girl. And they had their 3 kids, and we're from New York. It's myself, and I have 2 younger sisters. I've always been into football. I've always been into sports because, you know, I was raised in the 80s. So, you know, in the 80s, big brown girls wasn't a thing back then. So I got bullied and teased a lot when I was a kid. And so my father didn't have any sons. So me being the oldest, I did all that stuff. Come on, kid, we gotta go. I gotta go to the racetrack. So he took me to the racetrack with him. We had to fix his car. I'm outside giving him a wrench, helping him change the tire, you know. So, I mean, that was good because when I got to college, nobody could try to put me on my car because I knew about an oil change, a flat tire, and a transmission due to hanging out with my father. And so I was always into sports. We watched boxing, we watched football games, we watched basketball games. So I wanted to play football. So when I went to high school, I went to try for the football team. And the coach laughed at me and said, girls can't play football. And I was like, Coach Jones, I'm tougher and bigger than half these boys you got on the team. What you mean girls can't play football? Just because you're a boy don't make you hard, and just because you're a girl don't make you soft. So what you mean I can't play football? He said, well, you can't play football, but you could be our secretary. And I was like, secretary? I don't know, taking no notes for no I don't even like half the guys on the football team, okay? And he said, all right, then we'll make you a trainer. And so I became my high school football trainer, which it was good because, you know what happened? It got me a scholarship to Elizabeth City. So I got an athletic scholarship to Elizabeth City, and I was the football trainer at ECSU. That's why I was always with the football team. And we wanted to play there too. And Coach Little said, well, Leah, you ain't playing no football. Just go ahead and tape them ankles. Okay. So I was the, trainer, taping ankles. And my goal was to be the first female athletic trainer in the NFL. And so when I got out of college and I came back home, I would always go back and support my high school and everything. And my coach said, why don't you come and coach the JV for me? I said, hold up. You told me I couldn't play. Now you want me to come and coach? He was like, yeah, because, you're a graduate, you know my program, you went to the high school and everything, and you're a teacher now, so it will be a good fit. And so I became the head JV football coach at August Moore High School back in 1994, I think it was. And that started my whole journey in football.
So when you talk about like your football journey, and because I do remember seeing you with the football team all the time. And to be honest, I didn't even know they gave out scholarships for athletic trainers.
They didn't. So you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I got an academic scholarship, right? But you know how it is. Your first year, I'm free. You know what I mean? So we party and everything, and I failed Mrs. Jones' English class. One failure, I lost my scholarship. My mom said, you better bring your butt back home. You're going to bring your butt back home and get them grades up. And my cousin had a cousin there, Tyron Easton. At the time, he was a senior on a football team, starting DB. He was like, no, cuz you can't leave or whatever. So he told him about me. Remember Daryl McCaleb?
Yeah.
He had me come in the training room. He had me tape an ankle, all that stuff. It was like, what? This girl can tape and everything? And she could run too. She could run during the water breaks or whatever. So they got me an athletic scholarship to be the trainer, which is why I was with the football team my whole 3 years there. And whenever we was free, we had to go do the basketball ankles as well. Okay. And then it got to be a point where, because I was so fast, and remember in college I was bigger. So guys would purposely act like they was hurt so I could run on the field. Okay, so he'd be like, I'm hurt. He go down, Wylia, man down. I gotta go run halfway across the field and take care of an injury. Okay, and so that's what happened. But when you're around football your whole life, you don't realize what you learn. I've been around football since I was 12 years old. So when I started coaching, I was like, I'm see, I'm coaching. I can really do this. So I stayed with coaching. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep on coaching. I'm going to go to NFL. I'm going to go to college, you know? And I didn't think it would be any barriers for me to go there. But then I grew up and I faced a lot because at the time, they weren't trying to have any female coaches. Even in New York City, I faced so much racism and sexism as I was coaching, especially when, do we have anybody on the podcast under the age of 18? Well, I can't say it no better than this. When a woman starts winning games and kicking ass, oh no, they're mad at me. How this female gonna beat me in football? What? So, it was yeah, it was a lot.
I can imagine the ego being, like I can see that. But so I remember you coaching, was it a semi-pro team in New York?
And I went to this. I started doing semi-pro because what coach was it? It was I don't know if it was the head coach I think it was the head coach for the Jets at the time, or it might have been it might have been Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick, one of them. So what happened was in 2000. The NFL Hall of Fame, how they have the NFL Hall of Fame, the Pro Bowl every year, in 2000, and they honor all the big NFL players and the coaches and whatever. This year they did the top 50 high school coaches in the nation, and I was honored to go there, and they paid for the whole weekend, and we were there for the whole weekend, and I was one of the only female coaches there, representing New York. And my mom came with me, and I met Michael Vick, and I sat with his coach at my luncheon table. We went to a lot of coaches clinics. Of course, I'm still the only female there. And also me being Black didn't help either in terms of me getting, the help and everything that I needed. But I remember Bill Parcells was telling us a story. He was saying that the best ball players make some of the worst coaches. And some of the worst ball players make some of the best coaches. He said, just because you play football doesn't mean you know how to coach football. Okay? And because I had asked him, does it matter whether you're a female or man that coach football? He said, no, know the game. You don't have to play football in order to coach football. He said, look at Bill Belichick. And then we had another session with Bill Belichick the next day, who spoke for like 4 hours, but we learned a lot, And so when they told me that, I said, you know what? They're right. So I got more into football, more coaches clinic, more learn the game, more learn the technique and whatever. And then I'm trying to reach out to other coaches and universities. Can I come down and be on your staff so you can mentor me so I can learn the game? And it was, no, you're a woman. No, you're a woman. No, you're a woman. No, you're a woman. But the NFL would not look at me with just high school experience, they told me. So I have to try to figure out how can I coach grown men. The colleges are telling me no because I'm a woman as well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do semi-pro football then. Because semi-pro football are grown men. You can't play semi-pro football unless you're out of high school and you're over the age of 18. A lot of guys on the semi-pro football have experience from high school, college, and just in the neighborhood. So that's why I started coaching semi-pro football. So I get this experience of coaching men, coaching another level. And maybe that would help me to get to the next level. So that's why I started doing semi-pro.
Okay. So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the semi-pro experience and where we going from here. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Don't think you ain't going nowhere yet. We'll be right back. So check this out. Right here is a section that I call the worry-free 3. These next 3 minutes are dedicated to you. You can do whatever it is you want to do except worry. These are your worry-free 3. Worry-free 3.
Hey, everybody, this is Arthur Custodio Gomes, and I'm checking out BRI, Black Research Institute, with my brother, Denoris Wilson. So, check him out.
Hi guys, my name is Sydney Nicole, founder and CEO of Godly Luxury, and you are watching BRI, Black Research Institute with Denoris Wilson. I think you're gonna like this. Enjoy.
Okay, everybody, and we're back. We're here with Coach Slade, and we were just talking to her, and she was telling us about the trials and the hard times that she has endured trying to break into a male-dominated field, which is NFL coaching. So we're going to dig a little bit deep into that, and then we're going to talk about what she got coming up. If she told me some stuff, I don't know if she wants to share, but I'm gonna try to get it out of her. All right. So welcome back, Wylia Slade.
How you doing, Mr. Wilson?
I'm doing good. Did you like the little break? The little break is cool, right? The little break.
Yes. It was cool, yeah. One of my football players texted me during a break and said, "All right, coach, I see you." How you doing? My ball player Reggie, one of my loyal football players. Thank you, Reg. Appreciate that.
No doubt. So listen, you would when we before we went to break, you was talking about how hard it was for you to break into the field, right? Mm-hmm. I know you have an accomplishment that probably most people don't know, and I don't know how you like just skip over it and don't say anything. Like you were the first certified female what?
Oh, I'm the first certified female football coach in the United States. Yes, I was certified back in in 1993, 94. And after I got certified, I didn't even know. You know how I found out? When New York Newsday called my house for an interview. Michael Dobie called me, and because back then we didn't have cell phones, so they call you on your house phone, and everything is just they could find you. And he called me and said, "I want to do an interview about you, Coach Slade." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, for what?" He was like, "Well, you're a woman." I said, "All right, no big deal to me. It's big deal to y'all." He said, "Well, you're the first certified." He said, "Because you're certified." He said, in the country, United States. He said, "I want to interview you." So he interviewed me, Michael Dobie, for New York Newsday. Then I got interviewed by the Daily News. Then I got interviewed by, I was on NBC News, The Village Voice. I was in so many articles and magazines and newspapers that I really thought that I would get that shot, but it just didn't happen. And I applied as well. But when I applied, we have Jennifer King, who was the first one. I'm proud of all the females who made it to the NFL. Very proud of all of them, But back when I first started coaching, they wasn't trying to hear any of that. Okay. So then I got honored by Reverend Al Sharpton, National Action Network. They gave me Woman of the Year award for my accomplishments in football because I used my semi-pro football team to get a lot of young men off the street. I sent them to college. I wanted them to use football as a way to keep them out of trouble. So I did it for what I did was my first 2 years there. I joined a team that was already in progress. And I became the head coach of the Queens Vikings, and we won the championship that year. And then after that year, I went and started my own team, the New York Panthers, which I've been around for over 10 years. And then I merged with a friend of mine who was the owner of the New York Monster. Then we changed our name from the New York Panthers to the New York Kings. And so I've been doing semi-pro football for about a good 10, 15 years because as well as I kept doing high school as well, trying to get an opportunity to get to the next level. But at the same token, as I'm trying to get to the next level, I don't want to not help these young people around here, So I kept doing it with the kids and the younger adults to make sure we use football to keep them out of trouble and keep them involved, I would have a whole thing. I have a football team. I have a water crew. I have a staff. I have everything just to give everybody responsibility and a job to keep them, busy and off the street and everything. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I guess I'm just, I guess it's, it's no big deal to me anymore.
Okay, so listen, Wylia.
Yes.
You need to take a break.
Okay.
Do you need to take a break?
A break from football?
No, from the interview right now. Like, are you okay?
Am I what?
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Oh, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine.
So listen, so with all that you do and not being able to break into the field like you desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you don't like accomplish it? What happens? What do you do? How do you even pass on what you desire to the next little girl that wants to do the same thing? Like, how do you leave that legacy on? Because if you don't document it, if it's not documented, and you see how I'm segueing, right? You like how I'm doing that. If it's not documented, then it can't provide inspiration.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I was let me see documented. How do we document this? I was I have a how do I word this? Let me word this. Let me word this so it's really good, So I could give you exactly what the exact words to tell what's happening in terms of the legacy, because you're absolutely right. Okay, so I have a football player, and we would call him. His name is Stuffy, and you remember Rob Tiller?
Yeah, I remember Till.
Okay, so he's like a version of Rob Tiller. Okay. So He was my fullback, but he runs like a tailback. Okay, so when we would give him the ball, okay, and I tell him hit that middle, okay, he running right up the middle, running through the linemen, running over linebackers, telling the corner get the hell out of here, kicking the safety, and he getting a touchdown. Okay, so his brother played in the NFL. They was talking one day about coaches, and he said, believe it or not, one of my toughest coaches was a female. He said, what? A female? You got a female coach to be pro? He was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, no, you didn't. He said, yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. So my doorbell rang one day. I looked, and it was Stuffy with his brother who played in the NFL. And I took a picture with him, and he interviewed me for a minute. He was like, we got to get you in the NFL. So he went back, and he told a friend of his who was a movie producer about me, Mr. Barry Waldman. And Mr. Waldman interviewed me and everything. And so currently right now, oh, wow, there you go. You got the picture. Yep. That's he is right there from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay Bucks. Yes. And so Mr. Waldman interviewed me a couple of times, and he was really impressed with me and my story. So he's now working on a movie version of my life and what I've done in coaching.
Hold on, Wylia. So you didn't say the name. You didn't bring it up.
I did.
I put it up, so you ain't got to worry about them firing back at you saying that you did something that you weren't supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's all on me. Like you didn't do nothing. So that carry on. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah, that's him right there. That's right, Mr. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right. But no, I'm not gonna say his name. You said his name, okay? And then so currently I have a contract, and they're working on a movie of my life story because he felt the same way that I should leave something behind, And so I appreciate it, and that's what's happening right now. There you go. There goes his name right there. There it goes right there. There it goes right. I mean, I guess if you say his name, would it be a bad thing to say his name? It wasn't like it was he gave me a compliment and everything.
I mean, in this day and age, like when people trying to protect their intellectual property, which is their brand, you never know, man. Right? Like you never know. Oh, I'm trying to sue her because she said my name. What? Like, so you never know. So, but look, I can put it up there. I didn't say his name. It's a picture that's public. The guy, Reggie put it, said his name. I didn't say his name. That's, so if you try to sue me, you'll spend more money on your lawyer than you do for me. Like,
so how when my front doorbell will ring and I see him at my front door, what? Right. You see how I'm stuttering right now? I was stuttering just like that. I was, what? Okay. And then, we had my little football, and he tested me out, everything, whatever. And then he had told Mr. Waldman about me. And then also, one of my high school football players, two-time, he went to the NFL as well. He also had told the producer about me, and they called me. So that's what's happening right now in terms of my life story and movie version.
Well, this young man right here, we're not going to mention his name. This young man right here, he does amazing things anyway.
Amazing
things anyway.
Amazing. Well, they have nothing to take from me, so I'm just gonna. You do a great job. You do great work, Mr. Dunn. Great work. Great community work. Yes. Great community work he does.
With no fanfare. It's no fanfare. Like
none.
For that. But yeah, so it's a movie coming out. Maybe a movie in the works.
Yes. I have they gave me a contract and everything, yes. Yeah. I just don't talk about it because I'm just like, still kind of I don't know, I'm shocked about it.
Listen. When I was at Elizabeth City State University and I opened up for Run DMC, you remember when I opened?
Yes, because I got Run DMC down here, remember? After the first homecoming, I said, I can't take no more of this whack concert y'all having. So I'm from New York. I want to be in a homecoming committee, and I've got Run DMC. I got Big Daddy Kane down there. Remember all them tribe? That was me. I got them all down there. New York in the house. That was the best homecoming we had. Yes.
So when I opened up for them, I don't care what nobody say. I opened up at a college that I won a contest to, but for the rest of my life, I can always say I opened up for Run DMC.
Well, I tell you, for every time I have a step show and I'm teaching my students anything, and because you know one of the schools that I was in, one of the high schools that I had in, I started a big girl club, you know, because big girls need love. Okay, so I had a big girl club. Okay, and we would be a big girl dance club. Okay, and I said, let me tell you something. I said, I had a one of my sorority, we call him Romeos or whatever. I said his name, we call him Denny D. I said he was our choreographer. Okay, when we kill a step show, he would come in and give us these steps to do. And I said I would even rap. I was like, he made my rap. He was like, no, he was like, what you talking about? You didn't rap. I was like, what? I was like, Delta stepping to me. They want to get some, but I'm sick. So yo, you know the outcome. I said, Mr. Denora did all of that. You remember that? Okay.
Back in the conference.
Yeah. So I tell the kid now. I said, students stepping to me. They want to get some, but I'm a teacher. So yo, you know the outcome. I train them working around when I'm in class.
Hey, wow, man. I remember when you. I don't know what made you ask me. You was like, actually, what happened was, I think this was the first step show that the Rose were gonna be in a long time.
Yes.
The first step show that the Rose
First one. Yeah.
Long time, and you wanted to get it right. You wanted to make sure it was right.
Get it right. Get it right. Especially I'm looking at what was I? I was what was I, like 250 then? 250 or whatever. But you wouldn't know because I ain't play around. I danced, I stepped, I walked up. This I'm big girl, and so what? What you skinny girls got over me? Nothing. Okay, so that's why we went hard on the step shows. Yes, we did.
I don't know from a male perspective if we ever considered you when you were at Elizabeth City as big. I don't think we did. Like, no, I didn't.
Well, I don't know. Well, you know what happened. Well, one, Tammy was my roommate, and Tammy's like a neat freak, So she made me. She had to do everything, She just was
hot water.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So so I had to go with the whole that Wylia, you know how Tammy is. I had to make sure everything was straight. Her and Troy Miller. Please, he would put tape on the bottom of his sneakers because he didn't want no dirt and rocks up there. Okay, so okay, so we had to get the neat thing there. You know what I mean? But you know what it was? Remember they had them bathing suit contests all the time, and the AKAs and the Deltas and the AKAs were coming in all the time and rock them contests and win them all the time. And I was like, I'm not being in no bathing suit contest. And remember Marlon and Sylvia?
Yeah.
They came and they gave me a makeover. And you remember when I won that bathing suit contest? I came out last, the biggest girl on campus, and she won the bathing suit contest. Yeah, after that, everybody was like, I want Wylia ain't big. Wylia ain't big. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
But that's the thing though, Wylia. That may be how you looked at yourself. Put it this way. You ain't had no problem with dudes paying attention to you.
Well, let me tell you something. In the cafeteria, you remember Rodney Perry?
Yeah, I remember Rodney.
He said right at the door, we come in. Oh, here go Wylia with her big old fat self. Here go Wylia with her big old fat self. A whole freshman year, here go Wylia with her big old fat self. I said, shut up. Hey, Rodney, what you got going on for you with your little country high yellow ass? What you gonna do to me? We argued for a whole year about me being big. And then after I won that contest, they all want to be outside Williams Hall. Hey, you want me to walk you to back to the complex tonight? Nah, get out of here, son. Get out of here.
Well, from my perspective, you was always energetic. You was always happy. You was always like a light in the room. You know what I mean? You was always a light in the room. So me, I don't know. We clicked immediately. Like immediately, you and I clicked, and
yeah.
You know,
You know, my mom always taught us to love ourselves. You know,
right.
my mom always told us, she was like, you know, you love yourself. You know, you're black, you're beautiful, you love yourself. You know, your natural hair, you love yourself. My mom always told us to love ourselves. You know, and then I guess. I don't know. I guess after a while, when you get bullied and teased all the time, something in you snaps. Either you become submissive to the abuse or you go against the abuse, you know? But I had to really think to myself, like, besides the fact that I'm bigger than some of these girls, what makes them prettier or smarter than me? So at that point, I became a rebel and a fighter for big girls, which is why I changed my whole attitude. Be the, you know, come in the club, dance all night long, look at dudes like, you ain't getting none of this, you know. Had to fight for the big girls. So that's why I changed my whole attitude, because I got tired of being talked about just because I was big. So I had to change it. Like, all right, you're going to love this bigness. Okay. You ain't got no choice. So I just changed my attitude about the whole situation, because people should not define how you feel about yourself, but in a way they do. They do. And so if you don't have your mental about you to recognize who you are as a person, they'll really mess you up mentally, you know? So it was all about me loving and respecting who I was as myself, and to do what I have to do, because people will really, they'll mess with your self-esteem and stuff like that. And you have to really know who you are and love yourself and respect yourself. And, you know, so that it was all about that.
You know, by me being the only child, right? Like, I never kind of really let just what other people thought about me really affect me, right? Like, because I'm doing my own thing anyway, essentially, right? I'm the only child. You know, I had a whole lot of people I associated with, I was cool with, but for the most part, like, I was. You put it this way, you can't even recall of me hanging around somebody constantly on campus.
No, you was everywhere. You was everywhere. You was everywhere.
So I guess that particular type of attitude made me just, I don't care what you say about me. Like, I'm still gonna be Deanie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be.
But you came to school. You came to school with that attitude. You know, you came to school with that. I had to develop that attitude.
Right.
Yeah, but I got it now. So, you know, I think maybe by my sophomore, junior year, it was a wrap.
That's what I said, because when I met you, you had it, right? Like, when I met you, it was there. Like,
yeah.
It was in full swing. It was in full swing. Like, it was like, look at me, I'm here. You know, this is it, like, type thing. You know, and I think that's why you and I clicked too, because at that point in your life, you didn't care about what nobody said about you. You was gonna be Wylia.
Mm-hmm.
You was gonna be Wylia, and I think I appreciated that, because I was the same way in a sense. So, but you know what? Even though I saw you with the football team at Elizabeth City all the time, or just any type of training, you know, I can remember you in training gear and all that. Like, I never associated you with an athletic trainer. Okay, let me tell you how I associated you. You know, when you go to high school, those girls that just want to stick around the football team so they get the water, or you know, something like that. Mm-hmm. That's how I looked at you. Like,
you saw with the water girl.
or just somebody who's just like, you know, that's what they want to do. Look, I never imagined you got a scholarship out of it. Like, I never imagined you would get a scholarship out of it.
Well, you said I was always around them, but, you know, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I loved ECSU Vikings. I loved our football players. We loved everybody, but don't nobody want to be around them like that all the time. Okay, no, I have the choice. I didn't have a choice. Okay, I didn't have a choice, and so did Jemet didn't either. Jemet work study was there through the athletic program. See, a lot of work study was in different departments, you know what I mean? But a lot of students, they don't pick athletic department for their work study. You know, it's usually like the dormitory or someplace else, you know, but no, football. And then when you're the trainer, you're there before the football team gets there, and you're there after the football team leaves. Okay, so yeah, it was long days.
For me, and I probably say this every broadcast, man. Going to Elizabeth City State University was probably not probably was the best conscious decision I made in my life. Like in regards to forming the person that I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to shaping who I was and
Mm-hmm.
how I felt about, me and this is the thing. ECSU wasn't a black centric college.
In terms of what you mean with the HBCU?
No, meaning that it wasn't like a pro black attitude on college. It was a pro excel attitude on college. You understand what I'm saying? Like it was a pro be the best that you can be on college,
But
not be the
they still told us to love ourselves though.
no, but not just love yourself as black people.
Mm-hmm.
Love yourself as a person.
Right.
Like as a person, that's what I got. Like not just as black people. Now this is the thing. Now when I say that it wasn't black centric, it doesn't imply that there wasn't a whole lot of black love there.
Whole lot.
Like because that black love has sustained me for over 30 years. Like I have people that I associate with that I met solely by going to Elizabeth City State University that I talk to this day.
To this day.
Whereas I got people who I grew up with in my same town, I don't even talk to.
Isn't that crazy? Same here. People you went to high school with in your same town, your you don't even have that, and it's crazy, but that's the difference with having going to HBC. That's why HBCU, it's something that you cannot, you just cannot. You have to experience it. And I tell all my students, I ask all my students to apply to HBCUs, all of them, because it's an experience that we're in a racist country, and it's just what it is, and we have to understand how it is and how to deal with it. And when you're in public schools, after we had the Jim Crow and all that era, our public schools were never designed to really help and educate minority kids. And even today in 2021, we have totally black school districts that don't even offer and teach black history or how to start a business or economics or finances, which is what you need to sustain in life. Okay. And so at Elizabeth City, my mom was big on our black history and our culture. I think when Roots came out, I think I was like, 12. And my youngest, I was 12, my sister was 6, and my other sister, she wasn't even born yet because she's 10 years younger than us. My mom had us sit down and she had us watch Roots, and she explained everything to us. That's why to this day, I still know Kunta Kinte, okay? Because my mother had us watch Roots, Harriet Tubman, talk about our black history. And I guess because she's from North Carolina, they experience racism on a whole nother level than we do in the city. Okay, because we have racism in the city. Yes, we do. But the people who are racist will think twice before they go to a person of color and call them one of those derogatory words that they use all the time to people of color in the South, especially back in the 40s and the 50s. And they would steal their money, steal their land and everything. My mom told us about all of that. So when I went to Elizabeth City, it was like, wow, Black people are beautiful. It was Black history everywhere. It was culture. It was like, okay, so what? You're brown. What does that mean? You're a person. You're educated. You should be smart. Focus on what you're going to do. Focus on your future. And it was just a wonderful experience that, like you said, to this day, we still talk to our alumni and our friends from these HBCUs. But when I was doing my little, I'm a science teacher, so I deal with facts. I'm always dealing with the facts and everything. I try to do like a little comparison. I realized that when you go to an Ivy League and you're a person of color versus HBCU, none of them stay in contact. Okay? Most of my friends who went to Ivy League, they don't go back to their homecomings. They don't keep in contact with their fellow alumni, but we do. There's not an HBCU that doesn't have a homecoming or doesn't have alumni who still don't keep in contact and give back to the university. Because to be honest with you, if the alumni do not give back, HBCUs will not still be around to this day. So it's an experience that I do not regret. I loved it. I went to Elizabeth City. I love it. I went to HBCU. I talk about it all the time. That's my first thing. Apply to HBCU.
Well, this is my take on just the whole thing with the HBCU. Like, we couldn't help but to actually love one another, because when we were at Elizabeth City, it was so small. Like, it was so small.
Population 25.
To where everybody knew everybody.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
And that right there alone sort of helped foster in bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, help foster in unbreakable bonds. Just come on, like, we all went through the fact that you can go to your room, you can have a TV, but you ain't getting no channel.
Yeah. You know, and you know what else? Because we didn't have all that technology, we had to spend time together. You know, we had to spend time together.
Exactly.
You know?
So when I tell people about, like, you got to realize, unless you live in a big city, New York, Detroit, Atlanta, DC, Houston, LA, unless you live in a metropolitan, which 90% of the Black people in America live in rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They live in rural areas. They're not in big metropolitans. Yeah, the metropolitans got a lot of concentrated Black people, but 90% of us are in rural areas. So what happens in those rural areas? Well, let me tell you what happened in my rural area. I went to school for 12 years and I saw one Black teacher.
Yeah.
One Black teacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, like, mm-hmm. So what would inspire me to be a teacher? First of all, if I only saw one, then in my mind, my developing mind, if I only saw one in my developing mind, well, teaching ain't for Black people.
Right.
Because if it was, it'd be more Black people teaching.
Right.
Right. So when I went to Elizabeth City, you got to understand, even though I went to school for a year in DC, mm-hmm. and most of my schooling was in North Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. But so I seen a lot of Black people in DC, mm-hmm. right? But I lived in Southeast DC, mm-hmm. So it wasn't the best representation of Black people,
right? Yeah, just like parts of Long Island and New York City, exactly.
When I was young, right? When I was, going back and forth to DC, but when I got to Elizabeth City and I saw smart Black people, I saw cool Black people, I saw nerdy Black people, I saw punk Black people, I saw all these different arrays of different Black people from New Jersey, Philadelphia, DC, Connecticut, Atlanta, North Carolina, like all over the place.
Seattle.
Remember
Seattle, Minnesota.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Yeah. Small college, right? And I tell my son this all the time. I'm sure there are some of us that went to Elizabeth City back in those days that are not doing too well, right? Like, I'm sure there are some, but most of us doing pretty good.
Right. And you know what else too? Going to an HBC teaches you about community. It teaches you about how to work together. Okay? How you have to join and work together. And it also taught me that when we're at a mission to accomplish a mission or a goal, it's not about whether you like a person or not. It's about let's accomplish and get together to focus on this goal. We allow our personal feelings to get involved with what needs to be done a lot of times, Like if you look at the school system right now, I tell parents that you're not involved. We're not babysitters, okay? You need to know what your kid is being taught. The curriculum that we have should be changed. That should come from the parents. Are the parents asking what my kid is being taught? We're talking about 2021. How come Black history is not part of a curriculum right now? How come business is not? So, but teachers, we don't have that much support. So if we speak up, we're blackballed. So it should be the parents and the students speaking up, more than open up the school because I don't want to be home. No, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And public education is not where it needs to be in terms of getting our kids ready for today, especially minority kids. Okay, and it was always that way, but it has gotten worse. And the only one who's going to change that will be the parents. Teachers don't have any. We don't have any support. We have very minimal support. Very minimal support. No, we're like one of the lowest paid state workers, but have the hardest job. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a doctor, a judge, or a president, you always have to have a teacher first, right? So the first thing you have is your parent, then you have a teacher. You can't stop and jump to a career until you go to school and you have a teacher. But teachers get the least amount of respect. All everybody wants us to do is just to babysit their kids for free for 8 to 10 hours a day. And no one knows the students better than the teachers. So why are we not talking to these teachers and seeing what's really happening in the classroom with these students? Because we're telling everyone that these kids are disconnected. It's bigger than that. And we have to also look at what we're teaching them and how we teach them.
Well, my take on that is that, like, I think the logic, and I don't agree with it, but I think the logic behind why they don't pay teachers a high salary is the same logic behind why they don't pay police officers a high salary.
And they get paid more than teachers do, and we still have to teach them first too. Yeah,
they want those jobs something that person actually wants to do.
Right.
Like, that's what they want to do. They don't want them to do it because of the money, right? So I think that low pay status it actually helped teaching because it made more sincere people want to get into teaching versus people who want to get into teaching because they're getting paid a lot of money.
That's right? A valid point. That's a valid point because if you're still teachers, because you really have to love what you're doing.
When you went into teaching that it wasn't a whole lot of money into it, but you still did it.
No, I didn't know at the time. Remember, I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. I did not. Dr. Beasley made me become a teacher, and I'm glad he did. Dr. Beasley, as you grow up and you go through college and you go through, there are certain people in your life who will affect you and will mentor you. Dr. Beasley was in charge of the science department. He was also my zoology instructor, and by the time I hit my junior year, he was my academic advisor. And he said, my major was athletics. My major was athletics. I wasn't involved with teaching whatsoever, but I did really good in science. And he said, listen, Wylia, I know what you want to do. I know you want to go to NFL. I know you want to do all of that. He said, but I'm telling you, in terms of reality, it's going to be a long road. So I want you to get certified to become a science teacher as something for you to have to fall back on if your first dream doesn't work. He said, you have to have more than just one dream, more than just one plan. He said, so I want you to do it. So it took him almost a year to get me to pick up education as a minor. And I did it. And I got a job offer at Northeastern High School after we graduated to teach science. And I was going to stay in North Carolina. But at the time, it was like 1991. And they told me that my braids were too ethnic and I could not have braids in my hair. And I said, well, what would you like for me to do for my hair? Put a perm in my hair or a weave in my hair? I'm not putting no perm in my hair. I don't wear weaves and wigs. I wear my natural hair or I braid it up. And my braids are neat. But they said, no, you have to get more, what the word that they used to me? More business-like. How are my braids not business? They braid it up and I have them back in a bun. Okay, no problem. See you later, North Carolina. I'm going back to New York. So I came back to New York and I started teaching in New York. And then 1 year teaching, I went right into coaching football. So it was like, I'm teaching and I'm coaching. I'm happy. I could teach and coach at the same time. So I was like, Dr. Beasley, I love you. But the same token, as students, when you have people in your life giving you good advice, you need to listen. Had I not listened to him, he gave me good advice, but I also took it and I listened to him. So it wasn't wasted. So I can say I can appreciate what he did, what he told me, because I did it. A lot of people are giving good advice growing up, even now, and they don't listen. And then they'll think about it later on and say, shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's too late for shoulda, woulda, coulda. So, you have to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. But you need to also listen to other people, because you don't know what other people can teach you or tell you that you may not experience. Okay. So I'm glad that Dr. Beasley told me to pick up education. I'm glad that I became a teacher, because I love my students. I love educating my students, and I love being a football coach, And you're right. It's not for the money, because if it was for the money, half of us would have been gone already. So you're right. It's for the love.
Okay. Yeah. And that's why I think, like, they sort of, it's a good little ploy though. It's a good ploy because, it actually keeps a lot of bad people out of the field.
No, doesn't. No, doesn't.
No. It keeps more out of the field than it would.
It got really bad, Dean. Education is not run anymore. That's why I said people don't know. It's run by politics now. And you have these big time principals. And one thing, you talk about charter schools, okay? Charter schools was designed for the community, wherever the school is at, to allow more flexibility. Because when you have a public school with state curriculum, you have to go from this is what you got to do, and you can't add anything to the curriculum, anything extra. But when you're in a charter school, you can add Black history or another course or add flexibility. But there are some charter schools who are not doing that, okay? And our state has stopped monitoring them. And parents just dump off their kids at schools, okay? But there's no way in the world, if you have a Black charter school, that you don't offer Black history, or you don't offer business, or you don't offer a course like forensic science. We have to get these students ready for today, okay? So yes, the basic 4 subjects are very important, but what are we getting these students prepared for? Everyone is not going to college. That is the reason why with my semi-pro football team, I focused on the youth from age 18 to 21, because if they don't have a clear-cut plan, whether they're gonna, when they graduate high school, they're gonna go to college or the military, they're lost for 2 or 3 years. They don't have a job. They're trying to figure what they're going to do. A lot of our people in our culture, they don't start to get in trouble until after high school. All right, they didn't have a plan. The high school wasn't giving them a plan, because our high schools are not designed to help the minority students today. That was the reason why they started private and charter schools. But they're so run by political and corporate America that half of them have also dropped what they're supposed to be doing. And so what do the parents do? They don't say anything, because they have someone watching their kids for free for 8 hours. And so does anyone talk to the students? Because they're the ones that's going to school, but no one talks to them. No one listens to them. The teachers do, but no one listens to us either. So when we tell the parents to come together to question stuff, it doesn't happen. So you have all these big time principals and chancellors making over $150,000 to $250,000 a year, just firing teachers who are good because they don't personally like them, and it's wrong. Okay, being harassed, and you know what people don't realize? Charter schools don't have contracts for teachers, so there's no one to fight for us. A charter school can fire you if you blink your eye. They don't have a union. I don't even think people realize that there's no union for teachers. There's no one to fight for a teacher if you're at a charter school. So you just pretty much do whatever the person who runs the charter school tells you. And most charter schools are not even run by anyone who was ever a teacher. How can you be a principal or run a district and you've never even taught before? But that's what's happening now because the public is not delving into how it's run. All they care about is, I want the school open. And not for nothing. We not this whole 6 feet, 3 feet. Let's be honest about this. The schools are already crowded. It's not happening. It wasn't has been happening all year long. You cannot keep these kids separated. And they're masked on. So yes, the virus may be low in school, but it's still there. And the fact that the public has not said, why aren't teachers and students mandated to be tested or vaccinated before they go back to school? It's not. How can you open up public schools without mandatory testing for students and staff? It's not happening.
I saw this back in August. The vaccine, I don't know if it works or not, but I knew it was going to be a slow deployment to the vaccine because the entire time it's been about herd immunity. That's what it's been about. But you can't say, okay, everybody, we're just going to let everybody go outside and we're going to develop this herd immunity, but maybe 3 million of y'all are going to die. Right? Like 3 million are going to die, but we're going to develop herd immunity. So they can't say that, right? But they can slow the deployment of the vaccine, and they can get you back in school because some of us have been vaccinated, and then you can develop herd immunity, right? That's what it's really about, in my opinion. That's what, because my whole thing is this: you're telling me that a virus, it normally takes 2 weeks for it to show up in a person's body, after they get it, right? So you're telling me you can't say to the whole entire country, everybody, on Friday, we're going to shut the whole country down for a month. We're going to shut the whole country down for a month. So everybody get as much grocery as you can or whatever, but we're going to shut it down.
Excuse me.
We're going to shut it down. Within those 30 days, you'll find out exactly who's contagious, and they quarantined already, right? Once you take care of them, you're good. It's gone. Right? But no, you don't. But no, you don't want to do that because you can't tell everybody to go get food at once. It's not going to be enough food. You're gonna do panic. It's going to be panic. So I kind of understand. It's like people don't understand this. It's a pandemic, and none of us, I don't care who we are, none of us have ever experienced one.
Not like this level, no.
No,
Nope.
you have never experienced
Never.
it. And the people that's trying to direct us on how to get through the pandemic have never experienced the pandemic either.
Exactly.
Never experienced it. So they learn it just like we learn it.
Exactly. Which is why this school year was so hard, because you not only we have to teach via Zoom. So just hybrid learning. So you have maybe 65 kids on one lab class at home on Zoom, and you'll have 10 kids in front of you in a classroom. So you're from the computer to the room, to the computer to the room, to the computer to the room. Now, this is not a complaint.
Yeah, it was coming to this anyway.
Right.
It was learning to come to this anyway.
Exactly.
You should have saw that back when you can get an online degree from Phoenix University or DeVry. When you can get an online degree, you should have saw the writing on the wall back then that learning was gonna go virtual. Now, the pandemic may have accelerated the deployment of that, but it was going to go virtual anyway.
It was going to go virtual on the college level, but it wasn't going to go. If it goes virtual on a public level, then they're going to lose money. So it's not going to go virtual. That's the reason why they're fighting to go. It's a money thing, you know. Kids staying at home. You don't need a school building. You don't need all much money to run it. Okay, as I say before, it's about the money and the politics. Because if you want to open up all the schools, then at least have all the students and the staff tested. That's common sense 101. Why are you just having all these kids and staff come back to school and no one's being tested? And what if, we already have cases of students having the virus and bringing it home to their house. So now you're just going to open it all up again and not have people tested? That's crazy. And why are the parents not asking for mandatory the vaccine testing? I want to know. That's why I have so many friends and family members saying my kids aren't going back to school. And I don't blame them, okay? Because what are these states really doing? You have maybe one state, I believe it's Connecticut, that's doing it, one district that's doing it right. Let's just be honest. Let's take from the first step. Get everybody tested first. Why would you want to send kids back to school and they're not being tested? Does the public even realize that there is no mandatory testing going on for students or staff? It's not. You only get tested if you have a temperature or a high fever. So what are you talking about? And the media is not, people are not really seeing what's happening. And let's just look on the surface. Oh, well, the school's open, but what is happening? And how much learning is going on? And now that we're teaching on a whole new platform, where have there been time to do staff development? So we're learning as we're going along. As we have to change our whole way of teaching. When you're teaching in person, it's different than teaching via Zoom. Okay? Plus, you have students at home. They have their screen blacked out. You don't know what they're doing. They have these little secret snap rooms going on. So you got to try to get everybody engaged. So as a teacher, you have to totally change how you present your curriculum to the student. How do you engage these students? How do you get these kids to listen? How do you motivate these students? A whole nother platform. But no one thinks about that. All they care about is open up the school and send the kids back. But what do we send the kids back to? All right. And if we're going to keep this virtual situation going on, let's put some time and money into it to make it done the right way.
Okay. But I think you're not really. Okay. So why are they sending the kids back to school? That's the fact that they're sending the kids back to school is not really the issue. Why are they sending them back to school?
Well, it's various reasons because, it's depressing being at home. Like, it's depressing. The kids, there's no social interaction. This is what we're being told. No social interaction. Kids are being depressed. A lot of kids' grades is dropping, which is true. But on the other hand, a lot of kids' grades are increasing because a lot of kids don't want to go back to school. Okay, school is not the way. School is not the way it used to be. When we went to school, we learned, but the school had a way of making education fun.
But okay, so those two cancel each other out. So why are they still sending people back to school? Why are they opening up the schools? Why are they opening up, 50% restaurants or what? Why are they doing that?
Money.
Because no, it's not even about money.
You don't think it's money?
No.
Because our government is getting sued right now because they said they losing money because the stuff isn't being opened up.
Yeah, they making it, but the reason why is about to get herd immunity. It's to get herd immunity because listen to this. Money, we all know right now, where did we get almost $20 trillion from in 2020? Where did we get that from? Where did all that money, that stimulus money, where did it come from? It came out of the air. That's where it came from. So
you said so herd immunity, you feel that's what you feel it is?
No, they're trying to get herd immunity.
But you think that's the reason why the schools are being opened up? That's what you think?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Because
but that's not what they're saying, though. But that's not what they're saying.
Of course not. Of course not. Because if they say that, they're actually saying we're gonna let y'all go out there, and some of y'all gonna die. In this process, some of y'all will die.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead. I thought you would finish. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And we're trying because in the grand scheme of things, right? herd immunity is what you really want, right? You don't want really everybody to be vaccinated. You understand what I'm saying?
I see
Because
what you're saying,
yeah, because if you want everybody to be vaccinated, then that means that's another level of shots that we have to get. Like the shots that you have to get when you go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now you gotta add if everybody gotta be vaccinated, now you gotta add another shot to that list.
Well, did you hear Biden's speech last week?
What did he say?
He said he wants everybody vaccinated by May. And they also have this new thing going on where if you're an international traveler, you can't come to certain airports without your vaccination card.
Of course they're gonna say that.
Okay.
I guarantee you, listeners, I guarantee you, this time next year, everybody won't be vaccinated. Guarantee it.
Well, you know that because people have issues with it. With some people don't believe in the vaccination, and they said it was created too fast, or they have issues with it. And you already know the issue with the Black culture and man-made medicine. So we already know how that's going to go. And plus, as well as the people that have long-term issues, it may not work for some of them that may have other health issues. So everyone is not going to be vaccinated. We know, but my issue is not even a vaccination. Why do you have people coming around that's not being tested? No different than what happened in Florida this weekend. So guarantee you're gonna have numbers come out of that situation because what people don't understand is that the virus has not gone anywhere. The virus is still here. All right, and now we have different strains of the virus. The reason why we don't have as many cases before is because people have been being smart, wearing their masks, keeping their distance, trying to keep keep it around. But that has changed, and the virus has not gone anywhere. And you can't kill a virus. You can't kill a virus anyway. You could take a virus and put it to sleep. But because it was not handled the right way in the beginning, that's where we at right now. The Ebola virus could have been a pandemic like this, but President Obama, they handled it differently. He took care of it from the very beginning. In our case, we didn't. And when you let a virus just run rampant like that, it's hard to control it, which is why we're having this issue that we have right now.
Hey, listen. If politicians and all these people know that viruses are transmitted through people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It ain't in the air and you run into it. You know what I mean? Like it's person to person. So politicians and the scientists know that that's how viruses are transmitted. So if you know that's how viruses are transmitted, then shouldn't you limit at least until you know where the virus is? Shouldn't you limit the contact between people? Or for the simple fact is, not even say people get vaccinated. No, say this. Mandate masks. Mandated. A national mandate. If you're not going to get vaccinated, you need to wear a mask. Period.
And you know what? And you know the issue that we have with wearing a mask. And you can mandate whatever you want to, but you still have people who think they know everything. Like you said earlier in the show, that some people think they know everything, and they don't listen. Like what we're talking about is basic common sense. It's basic common sense. If a person has a cold sore on their lip, which means it's herpes, you're going to kiss them? Are you going to drink behind their straw? So isn't it herpes caused by a virus? Isn't it communicable? Once you get it, do you get rid of it? No, you don't. So what's the difference? It's just common sense stuff, But like I said before, once you get politics involved and money involved, it takes on a different level. Now we have the Republicans who want to say no to everything just because they're mad, okay? Which makes no sense. Then we have people who don't want to vote. It's just basic common sense that we're just not following.
Hey, but Wylia, like politics, to me, it ain't never been right. Right? Like it's never been right. So even to look at that system, or even the idea of that system, and look at it and talk about it as though it's been right, is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right? It's because you said that we live in a racist country, and at one
Sexism
yeah,
and nepotism. Yes.
but at one time in my life, I would have, I agree with you, but now our country has surpassed racism and sexism. We live in a capitalist society, and capitalists eat anything that they can to get more money. White, black, green, yellow. It just so happened that most of the capitalists are of a fairer skin, right? We- It, it's all about money now in America. It's all about money, from your charter schools to your redistricting to bringing a business into your community to teacher pay to officer pay. Everything is about money,
Right.
right? And as minorities, if we don't understand that, you may not think it, right? But where you spend your money at now is more important than ever, because even though you can spend your money with black people and they may not invest it back into the neighborhood, they may keep it for themselves, right? But you can rest assured that's all they're gonna do. But if you spend your money with somebody else, that money can come back and haunt you in the fact that that money will leave your community and come back and buy your community.
But we don't even know that, Denoris, and that's the problem. As a teacher, I'm telling you, that's the issue. We don't even teach our kids that, and that's the issue. So that's why we have this issue, because we don't teach what needs to be taught. We don't teach them about how the politics plays. We don't teach them about business. So when you get out of high school and you just all of a sudden you hit with the world is like this, and that is the issue that I stick with, and I don't take it away from it. It has to be taught at school. It has to be taught at school. And it will be taught at school when parents open up their mouth about what's important. They ask, what is my child actually learning besides math, English, science, and social studies? We know about that already. But what are they learning that's going to help them manage the life? Now, politics should be taught in public high schools. Black history, again, should be taught in public high schools. We're talking about 2021. Okay? In public high schools, they plan spring break at the last week of February. So for February, for Black History Month, we only have about 2 weeks to educate students on anything, because spring break is the last week of February. So this is the type of little stuff that I talk about, because I'm big about the little stuff, because to take care of the small stuff, you can't get to the big stuff, Okay, so let me ask you a question. Talk about sexism, right? This has been bothering me for a couple of years now. So let me ask you this question. Black women always support their men. And when I say their men, I don't mean their men like their husband or their boyfriend. We're proud of you when you do stuff, okay? Like President Obama, look at you, all the support. Black women will always support when Black men do big things. We're proud of y'all. But why is it when a Black woman does big stuff, we don't get the same support from our brothers? Why are they not proud of what we're doing and get behind us and support us? And that has always bothered me, because as me being a female football coach, we had a game in Staten Island, which is a really racist town in New York. I think Wu-Tang Clan is from Staten Island. We got one part that, but anyway, back in the 90s and everything, the racism was rampant. So I had a football game at one of the high schools there. I won't say the name of the high school. I made all my football players, dress like they're supposed to, like we're in Elizabeth City. We're not going to no football game with your pants hanging off your behind. My ball players couldn't even use the N-word. Someone used the N-word, they had to give me $1. When I put that rule in, I got $25, I swear, in 1 hour. Okay. So after 6 months, they stopped. I said, we ain't using the N-word. Okay. We don't do that. So I got to the locker room, Denoris. That locker room was a mess. They didn't clean that locker room up. Okay. It was dirty. I told my football player to stay on the bus. As I'm walking over to find a coach, he's telling his team, we ain't going to lose no game. Coach by no nigga bitch. That's what he said to me. And I'm a high school football coach. This is what he said to me. And one of the other coaches heard it. Another one of my ball players that came out heard it. And they didn't want to play the game anymore. They wanted to fight. I said, no. We're going to play this game. I told the visiting, the home team, I want that locker room cleaned up. My ball players are not going in there. The locker room, I told the referees, we're not touching that field until my ball players come into a clean locker room. Took care of that situation, got into the locker room, got back out there. That racial tension was terrible. I must have been called, the nigger bitch several times by the coaching staff. My ball players want to fight. I put them in a huddle. I said, no, we're not going to fight. You're not gonna punch them. You know how you're gonna fight them? You're gonna whip their ass on our football field. That's what you're gonna do. That victory is gonna last longer. That's what we're gonna do. And if we went out there, we whipped their ass, okay? And it felt good. But the same token, I shouldn't have experienced that, and I did. Now, from white men, you get kind of used to it because of the white supremacy attitude. But then when you have black men not supporting you and saying that I'm not losing no game coached by no effing woman, that hurts. That hurts. So yes, we have racism that we have to deal with in this country, but we also have to deal with the fact that we also have our own issues that we don't talk about that we have to deal with as well. Because until we unify on certain issues, we're always going to have that. Racism has never gone nowhere. It has always been here. It's just that under Trump, it has been okay. We now see it. And which, to be honest with you, that's the one good thing about him being a president, is that he opened up people's eyes to the fact that you really thought that we were free of this. So they got rid of the metal shacks and put mental shacks on us. Because what I've realized being a coach and a teacher with a lot of my minority kids and a lot of us, we don't have that mentality to start a business. We have a worker's mentality, which is what they wanted us to be. Go to school, get a job. Go to school, get a job. Go to school, get a job. So you can continue to work for them. What about go to school and start a business? What about go to school and follow your dreams? But we don't get that. Okay? And why is that? And so it's 2021, I'm no longer blaming it on white supremacy. I'm blaming it on us. The same way I look at someone who has been abused. It's not your fault if your man or your wife hits you or punch you in your face the first time. Not your fault. But if it's happened to you 20 times, well, then it's your fault. Because why did you stay there and allow yourself to be abused? All right. So as a society and as people, we have to address these issues that we have amongst ourselves, which is where we'll be able to come forward. That's why I support. Look at the Black Lives Matter movement. It was founded by these very, very intelligent Black women. We should have more male support for the Black Lives Matter movement. With what I've done as a football coach in all my years, I should have had at least 100 football players saying, how come Coach Slade not in the NFL? But if I was a Black coach trying to get there, it'd be 1,000 women behind that Black male coach saying, oh, you need to give him a shot. You need to give him a shot. So how come we don't rally behind our women the way women rally behind our men?
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna address the first part about how about going to school and starting a business. The whole idea behind the BRI is to provide inspiration. Mm-hmm. To showcase individuals like yourself who are out doing positive things, and you're a normal human being like me. You out here, you got the same struggles, same stresses that I have, or maybe more or maybe less, but you still finding a way to make a way, right? And I believe that the more that we show these examples, you never know, somebody may be watching and say, you know what, some mother may be watching this with her daughter, and the daughter say, I want to be a football coach, just because they saw the fact that you was a female football coach.
I'm still a football coach.
Right, exactly. So I believe our problem is not necessarily that. I mean, it's sort of a domino effect, meaning that, okay, you don't have any inspiration to be a doctor because you don't see any doctors, right? Mm-hmm. You don't see any doctors because going to school for doctors is expensive and it's hard to get in. It's hard to get in because the school systems that most Black youth are under are not properly educating them to be able to advance to the level of thought that they need to be able to go to college to be a doctor, and so on and so on. So it's more level, but it all starts with inspiration.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All start. Someone has to inspire you to do something. That's why you see so many young Black boys wanting to be basketball players or football players or rappers, because they see them and they like how they're living their lives, and they inspired to do them. But they don't see a Black doctor. They don't see a Black lawyer. They don't see a Black judge unless you live in the big cities like we mentioned. So inspiration. And then to answer your other question, why Black men don't get behind Black women, I can't speak for no other Black man in that regard. I do. Not only do I get behind them, but I also hold them to the same amount of scrutiny as I would hold a Black man to.
Exactly. I would have hoped so. It's just I don't know. It's just when they did the whole thing about the NFL and what the Black coaches face trying to get into the NFL and what Black men have to do. You look at the NFL right now. How many Black male coaches do we have in the NFL? Exactly.
But listen, Wylia, and I'm you heard this on the BRI. You heard this on the BRI. Listen, when you and I were at Elizabeth City State University, there was one Black quarterback in the league.
Exactly.
One.
Yeah.
Well, no, two. There was Doug Williams, and then there was Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
There was two Black starting quarterbacks in the league when we were at Elizabeth City.
Exactly.
Now half the league got Black starting quarterbacks. Right. So now it may not be the progress that we want.
Mm-hmm.
It is heading in the direction, right? It's headed in the right direction. We got to understand that any type of corporation or league, right? It operates off the good old boy network. That's how it operates.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to be white to be a good old boy, but most of the good old boys are white because they have the money to be able to be associated in the good old boy club.
And also nepotism. A lot of coaches had a father that was there, which is how they got into the league as well, the nepotism.
And I ain't mad at that. Right? Like I'm not mad at that. Like that's almost like if you got a business, you passing down your business to your kids.
Right.
So I'm not mad at that. But we have to understand that, like, look, it was only in the 1960s that they even let us play in the league.
Well, we was playing before that. A couple before 1960. But yeah, you're right. There was two. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, you're right.
So you go from there, and okay, let's say the 50s. I give it the 50s. Let's say you go from the 50s to the 2000s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still had limited players,
right?
But then after the 2000s, right, you start seeing Black people at positions that they normally wasn't at.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive tackle, guard, you know what I mean? Tight ends, because most of the Black people were specialty positions, wide receivers, running backs,
mm-hmm. Safety.
Right. They were specialty places, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But now you have them in just the regular old grind out in the, in the trenches guy.
Well, they wanted to win games. It became about talent. They wanted to win games, so that when they're going to recruit, it was about, listen, I don't care whether they're Black, white, or brown. This kid right here is nice. I want this kid on my football team.
It is about winning games.
Yes, and bottom line, it's about putting the best player out there. Bottom line.
the bottom line is it's about winning games, because winning games you get more money. It's about money, period.
Exactly.
It's about money. So whether he black or white, if he can play, I'ma sign him. If he ain't got no riffraff with him, I'ma sign him because he gonna help me win games and we gonna make more money.
Right.
Period.
Period.
Right?
Yeah.
So I expect to see some black coaches in the league within the next 10, 20 years.
I mean, we have black coaches, but it's just the amount of level that they have and what they have to go through. You know, they're anything that we do, we're held at a different standard than our counterparts, and so it's like we have a lot of NFL coaches who didn't get job offers to come back who are now coaching on a college level. And so it's like what we do and what they do is two different parameters. But all I do is say we know what's out there. It's not a complaint. What we're gonna do about it? Okay, because at the end of the day, I'm tired of talking about what we know what it is. I'm going to plan what we're going to do about it because we know what it is. But for 2021, there's nothing you can tell me. Don't tell me to sit up here and I should be happy that, this is what it is. I'm not accepting that mentality. That's not my mentality. If it was, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I can't accept that. Okay, you can't tell me that I can't do X, Y, and Z because I'm black or because I'm a woman. No, you tell me I can't do it because I'm not qualified. Okay. And so I will continue to fight like that. And it is what it is. Okay. And speak for what's right. It is what it is. I'm not going to become subservient to the system and just be quiet because I got a job. What does having a job mean? Okay. What does that mean?
You know what I realized though, Wylia, is that okay. Do you have any sisters and brothers?
Yeah, I told you that.
Okay. Yeah. Now, let's say you and your brother got in an argument. Right?
Okay.
And you call your brother any name in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But let's say your brother got in an argument with somebody else and you were down, and somebody else called your brother the exact same name that you called him. You're going to defend your brother.
Well, yeah, of course. You know that.
Why? Because you can call your brother names, but can't nobody else do it. Right?
I mean, that mentality, but I don't do that. But I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Right. So that's how I look at it when we try to compare how white people treat us versus how they treat each other. Right.
Well, it's a comparison, but I just can't go. I can't go to comparison no more because they treat us the way they treat us because we let them to treat us that way. We don't stick together on what we have to stick together on, and that's just how I feel. And I'm never going to stop feeling that way. We wouldn't be if we had that mentality. We would still be in chains. If Dr. King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth all said, you know what, we got this. So no, John Lewis, no, they kept fighting for what we have to do. And that's all that I'm talking about. As people of color, we have stopped the fight. We just sit back and take a bone. Well, we got one person here and one person of color here. No, that's unacceptable. And not for nothing, what are you leaving your children? What are you leaving your kids for the next 20 and 30 years? Like, what are we doing? Okay, so and for us to tell our kids to have that mentality of, well, it could be worse. That's the problem right there with our whole mental thinking, which is why I say that we have to really change how we think. We still have that subservient type attitude where we just have to work for the man. We're not qualified to be in charge, to be a leader, to be the head coach, to run corporate America. But as long as we work for him, we okay. So now you got a football team with 85 black ball players, and the whole coaching staff is white.
Yeah, but you gotta understand.
But then we gotta be like, no, it's okay. But as a football coach for over 25 years, and my brother-in-law, he was the head coach of the New York Dragons. Heard the New York Dragons?
Yeah, I heard of them.
Okay, so when they came to New York, I was impressed that it was a professional football team with a black head coach and a black assistant coach. He had a whole black coaching staff. I was blown away. We talking New York City. Okay, Nassau Coliseum. Professional indoor football team, black coaching staff. I was so proud of this man. I didn't even meet him. I took my football players there. He had open tryouts, as a matter of fact. I had 2 or 3 ball players who I thought was really, really good. Took them down for the tryouts. One of them made the team. And so I asked the coach, I said, Coach Harden, can I be on your staff as an intern? So, I really want to be on a professional coaching staff or a college coaching staff as an intern so I could really up my skills and learn the game more. Out of all of and before I asked him that, remember when Tony Dungy was the head coach of the Jets? So when I came back from my pro haul, I had worked out a deal with them where they would come to my high school football team back when I was the assistant varsity coach at Westbury High School. They would come over there and they would actually do clinics with my football players. And it was a really good thing with the Jets ball players on my team. And we do a lot of stuff. And so that's when I had applied for a coaching job with the Jets. And the Jets manager told me that I needed to get more experience in coaching. I should try to get on a college level or try to coach with men. So I went to semi-pro. So when the Dragons came, and he was the first coach that put me on his staff as an intern. First one after all these years, put me on his staff as an intern. For a whole season, I'm interning, showing me how to recruit ball players. I'm going to games. I'm working with professional football coaches. And he was so impressed with me that the following year, he was going to actually put me on his staff and make me a coach. And that's when the owner sold the team. He also owned that team in the New York Islanders, and he sold the team. So I was like, another dream gone. But, my experience that I got with them, I can't change it. And I will forever be thankful that he gave me the opportunity to, intern professional staff for a season. But with all the stuff that I had that I've gone through, I could always have said, well, you did do that for one, whatever. But no, that's unacceptable. I'm going to keep on trying to get to the next level until the day I die. Because you can't tell me that I can't coach just because you're a man, I'm a woman, I'm black, and you're white. I'm not accepting that. And I'm going to keep on fighting until I get my opportunity.
No. See, I think like a lot of times they're not telling you that you can't coach, meaning that you don't have the ability to coach. They're telling you that you can't coach, meaning I am not going to hire you because you are a woman. And
right.
It ain't that you don't have the ability. They're saying, I am not going to hire you because you're black and you are a woman.
Which is what they said to me. Which is they didn't say black. That's what they said to me back in the 90s. They didn't care. They were honest. They said, no, you're a woman. You can't coach. We're 2021 now. That's why I gave the NFL their props for finally letting females in there. But they wasn't like this 20 years ago. No, okay. And they were honest about it. Like they told me, no, you can't coach here because you're a woman. They said it straight up.
Okay. So you were before your time.
I mean, and what can I do? Can I go cry? Can I go complain to somebody? No, I said, all right, fine. I'm gonna keep on trying. Though. Who are you? Who are you to define my purpose and my role? And that's what I mean about how the people's opinion. So the recruitment guy from the Jets is gonna tell me you need to get more experience and then try again. They're not really ready for that yet. Okay. No problem. Then the letter I got from the NFL said, well, we're not ready to bring women in yet. Okay. That means I'm going to stop coaching? No, I'm not. I'm going to stop trying? No, I'm not. Because who are you to tell me that I can't do and can't do just because you're one? Like you said, we're all people. And people run this world. So one person's bad decision or good decision affects somebody else. So who are you to knock someone else out of the box of something just because of your personal feelings, which is why I said when it comes to our careers and our job, we got to put our personal to the side to look at the bigger picture, but we don't. And that's why we have the issue that we have on some of these careers like NFL. Get rid of that. You can't coach because you're a woman. Get rid of the fact that you make a better coach because you're a white man over a black man. That's your personal opinion. No. Give the person a chance first.
But that's the thing, though. That's not what they saying. They're not saying you are a better coach because you're white and you're a better coach than him because you're white and he's black. They're not saying that. They're just saying we're not gonna hire you because you're black.
You're right, but no, that's what they were saying back in the day. As a matter of fact, it got to be so bad that one coach told me that we're not going to bring any more blacks to run the NFL because it's the NFL, it's National Football League, not the nigger football league. That's what he said to me. So when I talk about stuff like this, it's like when you tell these stories, people don't really believe that people talk like that to certain people, but they do. Because what do they have to lose by saying no? You can't come here because you're black or you're a woman. They do say that. They have said it. They don't say it now, but they did. Yeah.
Wylia, I try to tell people, how are we still surprised at anything that gets done to us when we know that they had us in slavery for 250 years? How are you surprised by anything?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. How does anything make you say, I can't believe they did that? They had you enslaved for 250 years.
Yeah.
How are you surprised? So when I see something that that I know is racist, I'm not surprised. Like, come on, like, I don't care. You were just saying it's 2021. Yeah, but I seen a white man put his knee on a man's neck till he died.
Yes, yeah. And you heard what happened. You heard what happened in New York the other day, right? Yesterday, right? The one of the principals, made a black kid get on his knees to apologize to a white kid. This happened yesterday. And so the headmaster, but this is what the headmaster was. The headmaster was put on leave. He wasn't fired for doing that. He was put on leave. So we even have different criteria when they do things versus we do things. But like I said before, the same way I say about abuse, if a man or a woman hits you the first time, you don't know they're gonna hit you, but after 20 times, you know it. So like you said, over 250 to 400 years of slavery, we know how they feel about us. The question to us is, why do we keep letting it happen? Because a lot of us have gotten comfortable. I got a job, I got a car, I got a house, I'm good. But no, you're not good. Even when it comes to our housing, they still put us in certain neighborhoods, okay? So we have to get out of our slave mentality, okay, and come up with what are we gonna do? We can't stop. Oh, we know how the system is, like you said. We know about racism, like you said. So stop using it as a crutch to not move on to do other things for you, yourself, and your community. We got to just stop being happy with a car and a house. It's bigger than that. And what are we doing for our future and for these kids?
Wylia, it's really bigger than that. You're right. It's bigger than that. And we've been talking for almost 2 hours. But I'm going to say this and let this go. But listen, it is bigger than that. But you got to understand something. Especially being black, right? You got to understand that most black people in America do not make over $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't care where you live at, most black people are not making over $50,000 a year. Right? Now, it takes a good $30,000 a year just to live, with rent, utilities, cable, phone, car payment, car insurance. It takes about $30,000 just to live anywhere. And when I say make $50,000, that ain't what they bring home. Uncle Sam got to get his. So most black people, if they have anything left over, most of the time they don't have nothing left over, but they work so hard that these little joys of getting a car that you really can't afford. You really can't afford it. You go to work every day, you get a paycheck. I want it, I'm gonna get it. These are our little joys that we take. Because think about this, Wylia. Name a bill that you pay that goes to a black person.
Well, what do we own, Dolores? You know, Dolores, people don't realize. Look at what's it? Allstate Insurance Company. That does the Allstate Insurance Company started on slavery. They sold insurance for slaves, and now Allstate is still here, and it's still here. So we have a lot of corporations that was built off of the back of slaves. So yeah, you're right. So where's it going to? But at the end of the day, the one thing that my mom always stressed to my sisters and I was this: rent is money spent. The system don't want you to own nothing. So your goal is to have property. Okay. My mother was not about us getting no fly car. She said property. That's what property, forget rent. Rent is money spent. Get some property, then you'll get whatever. But we're not, like I said before, we're our whole mental, we're not taught to be to like, for example, look at what happens when you go to college. We're not taught about credit. Dolores, we weren't taught about credit in high school. We don't know the importance of a credit rating. Okay. So we go to college, we get all these free credit cards and they coming to us with, and we're just taking it because, we're like, oh, well, and then by the time you're 25, you got a credit rating of 300 and you can't get nothing. How come we don't learn about credit ratings? Okay. Stuff like that. I'm talking about the basics 101 stuff of life that is not taught to people of color that we need to change.
Listen, understand, America was built, we can say slavery, but it was built off capitalism.
Capitalism, yeah, but the physical labor was slaves. Yeah, we can't dismiss that.
But the reason why you had slaves so people can make money.
Exactly.
So that just like the factories. The reason why you got all those machines is so people can make money, right? So it's built off the foundations of capitalism, right? But we are trying to get people to forego capitalism and be humane and treat us equally. Capitalism don't work like that.
Okay.
If you're gonna live in capitalism, you have to learn how to master capital.
And that goes back to my point again. You're over the age of 40. We should have learned this a long time ago, and that's what I mean. We didn't even only capital we knew was a capital letter going back to high school and college, and we wasn't taught about capitalism. And that's the point that I get back to my same thought that I'm talking about it. We can talk about all these issues, but if we're not teaching our kids them, then they're going to continue. That's all that I talk about. Our kids should learn about, like you said, what is capitalism? What is it?
Listen, it's like the law. If you go in front of a judge, right? If you go in front of a judge and he tell you that you're getting convicted of this crime, and you say, well, I didn't know you couldn't do that. What will a judge say to you?
I don't know. I don't know. I never got convicted of a crime before.
Well, he would say, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Okay.
So ignorance of the system that you are living in is no excuse because you're living in it. So me and you and I, okay, the school system are not teaching these kids about the essential things that they need to be equipped to go out into the world, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, they're not teaching them, right? Okay. We can talk about the school system teaching them. We can talk about all of that, right? But you and I, we can develop an online entrepreneur business class. Won't cost us nothing, but a little bit of time, an hour a day, where we can Zoom a couple of students. That's what it's going to take. It's not going to take no corporation that want to keep us dumb, because if they keep us dumb, they can keep getting our money from over and over and over and over, right?
Right.
So we can't rely on them to teach us what we need to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
Not only us, but little white kids either.
Mm-hmm.
They fall prey to the system too. So we got to understand that capitalism stops at nothing to get more capital, even if it means killing. right? Even if it means killing some people, capitalism stops at nothing to get more capital. And I'm trying to get our people to understand that, like, look, if we invest for 1 month, if every toilet paper, if every black person that buys toilet paper in America bought one brand of toilet paper for 1 month, the profits alone, off of the toilet paper, the profits alone can send 1,000 kids to school for free, and they can get their degree.
Okay, we know that, but no one, they're not, until we are educating in capitalism, people of color don't trust it. And it's, like I said before, as a teacher, it starts with the youth. Had we learned about capitalism, we were in high school, we won't be on this conversation right now. Okay, half of us didn't learn about the point of a credit score until we got out of college. So I keep saying, which I will always say until the day I die, it starts with the youth. We have to start teaching our kids and teaching each other, like you said. Stop talking at each other, and let's work together on building and fixing these issues that we have. Okay, which is what I always try to do. I don't want to talk to folks so we can figure out who's the smartest one. I want to sit down and let's work on an issue. Like the prime issue that we have right now is, why do we fight for Jim Crow to be over? And now we're getting ready to go into Jim Crow again into 2023. Do people realize the voting law that are being changed now in these Republican states? I like to deal with the little stuff and the facts that cause the bigger issue that we don't discuss, in classroom and like that, which is why I use my football field and my classroom as when you're with me on a football field or in my classroom, you're going to learn more about football and science. We're going to learn about life. So there's not a student who I've been taught in these 25 years or coach who will not tell you Coach Slade taught me science, taught me football, taught me politics, taught me life, taught me my history, because I'm an educator. So I'm just not going to sit. I'm just not going to just talk about one thing. I'm going to make sure my kids are fully educated in how to pursue and manage life.
Well, I mean,
and so you got to talk about it like they don't know about it. And finances is confusing to get hit up at 25, You know
what, it's like I said, what we have to address is multifaceted. Like, it ain't just one thing. It's a multifaceted approach.
Yeah.
And I look at it like this. If you have an idea that you think that I can help you bring into fruition, tell me. If I have an idea that I think that you can help me bring into fruition, I'll tell you.
Teamwork.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
Like that's really the only way, because individually we don't have enough power.
Yeah.
We don't have enough power as individuals, but as a whole we will. Because trust and believe. If you had 25% of the black people that just stuck together, so you're looking at, if you got 43 million black people in America, right? If 10 million black people decided that they're gonna do something together, they will make noise heard all the way around the world, right? Wylia, we could talk all night because we always do, but it's been 2 hours, girl, and we touched a lot of topics. But I am glad, I am honored that you decided to grace me with your presence, and we already discussed that we're going to be doing some projects together. So, I'm going to be hitting you up. But before you leave the BRI, it's customary that I ask you 3 questions. Well, there are actually 2 questions, but the second question is 3-part. Right? So the first question is, what are you doing to push the culture forward?
I'm doing a lot of things. What do you mean specifically? I told you I'm an educator.
Give me something brief. Give me a brief description of what you're doing to push the culture forward.
I'm an educator. So I'm out in the street. I talk to the kids. I talk to the youth. I'm not about, I don't know what to call it.
I want to know what you're not about. Tell me what you're about.
I'm in those streets. I'm a community activist. I'm about the kids. and my football players and the youth, and I talk to them and I work with them. And I even have students who I tutor for free virtually because I don't care about the money. It's all about their progress and helping them better. Okay. And I'm kind of like, the first person we talked about earlier. I do a lot. I just don't talk about it because I'm not doing it for, I don't know. I'm not doing it to get a fur coat, or a Lexus 500. I'm doing it because it's something in me that is calling me to do. I have to take care of the youth, educate the youth, make sure they see the good and the bad, teach them the knowledge. Okay. And it's not just talk about it. You have to do it. And if they need help, you help them. Okay. A lot of kids, they need help and they don't know how to ask for help, and no one talks to kids anymore. And so they're our future. They're our future doctors, cops, scientists, teachers, or whatever. And what are we teaching them? So that's the first thing I do.
Okay. Now, the second question is, I need for you to name me 3 famous Black people, but they can't be athletes or entertainers.
Okay. 3 famous Black people, not athletes or entertainers. Okay.
Right.
Harriet Tubman, because I was her bodyguard. We've been living before. I used to be her bodyguard back in the day when she was freeing us. I was her bodyguard. So I was Harriet Tubman. Okay. All right. Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth.
That's a New York, North Carolina group of people, right? Like that's like, yeah. That's like, like you got Harriet who like, look, I ain't taking no smack. Like either you coming or you dying. You know what I mean? Like, and then you got Malcolm who's gonna tell it like it is, and then you got certain groups that's gonna put a little sugar in it, and it's a little sugar. So I can see that. I can see why you would choose them 3. I can see that. But Wylia, baby, thank you, man. It's been
Thank you. Thank you. And the Black, I'm proud of you as well. The BRI is a great institution. I want to help whatever you want me to help. I'm glad what you're doing for the universities and the HBCUs. And I appreciate you interviewing me for all of this. I really do. Thank you very much. Keep up what you're doing. I will help with the Morgan, with everything doing with Morris Brown University, Elizabeth City State University, making sure the youth stay activated, making sure HBCU stay open. Proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Doing what you're doing. And when the NFL give me my interview, okay, I will have you be the one to interview me with when they finally give me my interview chance, because I'm gonna keep on knocking on that door till they bring me in there. Okay.
You know what? It would not be a surprise for me to turn on a TV Sunday and see you with some headsets on. So that wouldn't be a shock to me.
And I also, what I didn't. Also, I may just take over Elizabeth City. I don't have a problem doing that either.
Well,
So I may come back down to HBCU, be the head coach of HBCU. I have a problem doing that either. Okay, because it's all about the youth and the kids and getting them out there and me coaching. So I'll go to HBCU. Maybe I may do that as well. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
I'm gonna leave you with that.
But I'm gonna finish writing my book. I'll let you know when the movie and everything is finished, and we're gonna keep in contact. And thank you so much.
You see what's on the screen?
Yes. I applied for that job 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens in its right time. You know what I mean? That's all. Everything happens in season. But I'm gonna get out of here, Wylia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it, but I'm gonna be calling you sometime later on in the week, and we're gonna discuss the other projects that we got going on. Okay.
All right. And thank you so much.
Everybody, Coach Wylia Slade.
Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, good friend. A long interview. I haven't seen her in a while. I like talking to her. I know it was long. I know I was long-winded, but I did that for a reason. But I hope you enjoyed whatever portion that you decided to listen to. And thank you for rocking with me and listening to my friend's interview. She's very inspirational. She's very motivated. She's very dedicated about what she wants to do. And remember, we're still in the gambit. Below you'll see where you can donate to the fund. I'll let it run a couple more times, but I appreciate everyone. And remember, in order for you to receive a blessing, you must first be a blessing. And we're going to